can taste you, I can taste you.
Good morning, everyone. It is September 7th, around 8:30 in the morning. And as you can see, Walton here is not too happy about the situation. I know, because the luggages are out, which means mommy's going away. Good morning, everyone. So, as I mentioned earlier, it is September 7th, and this is part 2 of Ryan's birthday celebration. This was supposed to be a surprise about a month ago when I started planning it, but it ended up not being because I had to talk to him about some stuff that was happening in a couple of weeks. But either way, we are heading to Korea, to Seoul. This morning, our flight leaves at about 12:30, so we have a lot of time. And we are flying Korean Air, which is one of probably my top 3 Asian airlines. And it's not a long flight, it's about 4.5 hours. And so we get there about 5:30 with the hour difference. Now, this is Ryan's first time going to Seoul, and that's been in his bucket list. I've been to Seoul multiple times in my younger years and in my older years. So this is something that I am excited to share with Ryan. We love Korean food. We love the culture and everything, so that's going to be fun. We're going to be there for 6 days and 6 nights, 7 days. And we are staying sort of in the Myeongdong area, which is, at least before the pandemic, is known for the street food. So we'll see what the difference is. Let's talk about requirements. Again, when you travel nowadays with the new normal, please, it's almost like a daily check that you have to do with the requirements. Because about 3 weeks ago, when I started booking and doing our plans, South Korea still required a pre-COVID test before entering. And as of September 3rd, they do not require your pre-departure COVID test, but they still require the mandatory, when you arrive within the first 3 days, COVID test when you arrive there. So that's what we're going to do. They have COVID test centers right at the airport. So it's just more convenient if you do it when you arrived, right? You're at the airport already. Before you get on the train to the city, just go ahead and do it there. So we booked that because we are carrying US passports. We needed to get a travel authorization, which you could do online really quickly. I think it was $10 per application. And yeah, I think that is it. Oh, most importantly is the Q code. That is like our One Health pass. Come in. So the Korean Q code is like the One Health pass. Now, if you look at it 3 weeks ago, there's a lot of things that you needed to input when it comes to your health questionnaire. As of September 3rd, it's just your passport, if you have any symptoms, and they email you a QR code, and that is that. So have that handy when you land. Otherwise, you have to do it manually in Seoul. So yeah, that is that. My brother's taking us. Like I said, we're leaving at about 9 o'clock, which is more than enough time. And it's going to be Korean Air is in Terminal 1, which is the older airport. It's the original Ninoy Aquino International Airport. So yeah, other than that, I think hopefully we have all the requirements. We're all good. The only other thing here is the little doggy that knows something's going on.
It's okay. I know. Okay. It's okay.
Aw.
I know. I'm excited too. I'm excited.
Yeah,
too.
the Staggy is downstairs in La La Land. Walton makes it harder for me to leave, so
I know.
it's hard to get excited when I'm at home because I feel bad leaving the dogs. But when I get to the airport, we're all good to go. So yeah, so I will take you to this journey. I haven't been to Korea in about a minute. Not only that, because of the pandemic, things are changing. So let's see what Seoul has to offer.
Let's go.
So I am in the living room here, our suite, which I will do a full tour later. We are at the A Loft in the Myeongdong district, which is really famous for their street food and shopping, and very central to where you're going to go. And I figured, since it's Ryan's first time here in Seoul, it's a good place for him to sort of see everything at the same time. So we're going to be here for a week, 6 nights, and just wanted to sort of recap what we did before we left yesterday. We left Manila yesterday, and the requirements that actually was needed and actually was used when you got here to Korea. It's a little bit, it's ever changing, as we all know now, so let's make it best practice to just keep checking travel requirements every time we travel, because countries are going to start opening up and the requirements are going to keep on changing. So like I said, yesterday was kind of like a free day. I didn't take a whole lot of video because there was a lot of requirements that I was the one who booked, so I needed to sort of focus. But after arriving, one of the first things that they will look for is your Q code, which you want to fill out before you even leave Manila, so you have the QR code. Once you get off the plane, there are 2 separate lines, one's with the Q code and once you do manually for your health declaration. The Q code is basically just their health declaration, and it is substantially longer if you do it manually and you try to fill it up here at the airport versus having the Q code. So we zip through that, go through immigration, and get our luggage and go out. That part is just simple. Now, when you go out, depending on what your itinerary is, it might be daunting if you've never been here or if you're doing it for the first time, but it really isn't. It's beautifully marked. Everything you need is there, and you can ask anybody there. So the first thing we wanted to do was pick up our pre-booked SIM cards, which I did through a website called Klook. And this isn't, this isn't paid anything, right? This is just where I booked it, and it seemed pretty convenient. We bought 2 prepaid SIM cards, one from SK Telecom and one through LG, and the booths were right next to each other. You pick up a number and they call, they give you the SIM card, boom, bada bing, you're out, right? So, and this is all through Terminal 2 because we came in through Korean Air. So once that was done, we wanted to get our COVID test. Now, as of September 3rd, it is no longer required to upload a pre-COVID test for departure, but it is still mandatory to get tested as soon as you arrive in Korea within a day and a half. So unless you're super familiar with Seoul and know which health facilities to go to, we just did it at the airport. And we booked that as well, which makes our lives easier. So it's marked all around. As soon as you go out and get your luggage, which COVID test, east, west, center, you have to go. Just follow the arrows. And we found it. It was super efficient. They got our appointment slip, gave us a number. I really wish this part I actually videotaped. It was so cool. Once we paid through this kiosk, they gave you the cotton stick swab up your nose and the test tube that just comes out. It was just, I thought it was really cool. Now, it's about $70 to get it done at the airport. So like I said, if you're long-term foreigner staying here, you can look for a free health center. It might be cheaper, but that's just the price you have to pay now. So we went ahead and got tested about 6 o'clock. And this morning, by the way, we got our results. Thankfully, we are both negative, which we are going to upload to the Q code to let them know that we did do the test. And so the next part was looking for an ATM, which was easy. So we don't bring dollars and exchange it at foreign exchange places. We just use the ATM. Every time we travel, we've only done that. The exchange rate is pretty good with our ATM, so that's not really a problem. So we got the money, and the next part is taking the train to Seoul. Now, anybody who's been here knows that there's a direct
train from Incheon International Airport to Seoul Station, which is basically you can transfer to wherever. So we did that, and by the time we got here, it was about 8 o'clock, 8-ish. So we checked in to the A-Loft, and it is literally right around the corner from the street food center. So we grabbed a snack, went to a 7-Eleven, got our waters, the usual shebang when we travel, and just had a nice quiet inn before we both went to bed. So yeah, that was like sort of the quick recap of what happened yesterday. I didn't, like I said, I didn't do a lot of video because I sort of booked the lot of it, so I had to sort of keep my wits about me. But other than that, it's just a beautiful day. 2 weeks ago, Korea was going through torrential rains and flooding, and yesterday the typhoon that was hitting Manila when we were in Batangas was here. It ended yesterday, and we all know that some people perished with the flooding, which is horrible. But looking outside right now, it's beautiful, it's sunshiny, and I think today we are going to go to the palace and just walk around since it's beautiful outside and take advantage of it. Ryan's in the shower, so maybe I will do the tour now. Like I said, I used my points to book this room here at the A-Loft, and since I am still Titanium Elite, I get automatic upgrades still. So this room is beautiful. The A-Loft that I stay in when I'm in the US is a little bit different, but Asian hotels are just different. So anyway, enough chit-chatting. I'm gonna go take a shower and see what the city of Seoul can offer. I'm just jonesing for a coffee, and that's about it. So let's go explore Korea. And it is now noon. You see, beautiful weather. And I think because this is such a big place, we are just going to hang around here for pretty much the rest of the day. But we're going to look for the ticket center. And if anybody has watched YouTube or been here before, you know that outside has a ton of those hanbok rental places, which is their national costume. And one of the gimmicks they do is that if you rent one of those costumes, you get your ticket to the palace for free, which I guess is, what is that, incentive for a little business here, promotion. But I think we're just going to buy the ticket. But it's kind of cool to see like little children and people walking around in the national costume. So I'm going to find out how much the tickets are. It is a Thursday, so I'm thinking it's not going to be super packed. And this entrance.
That's the museum.
Yeah, this is the palace. Yeah. I think that's the entrance.
Well, I mean, I think it's the-
Oh,
Oh, that looks like
this
a
ticket.
open.
Yep.
Wow, sure brought. These are things you should bring. A hat, sunscreen, sunglasses.
It's not that. It's LA warm. It's not that hot.
No, it's beautiful. It's 0 clouds. Oh, run it, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you have to entertain the doggies. I mean the children.
Yeah. Free experience. It's like, oh, it's VR. Definitely don't want that.
No. Well, what's in here?
Yeah, this is the little thing. I said, is that it? He said, no, it's the big thing.
Yeah, so this is where we came in. Information and everything
Yeah.
is here. So you go all the way to the back.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
Because that's the VR thing.
Yeah, we don't want to do VR.
I'd rather do it IR. Yeah, these were restored in 1995.
Oh, okay.
That's impressive. So this is basically their science area. See, he invented the rain gauge, sundial, water clock, celestial globes, and installed it here.
All right, so we're still here at the probably should know how to pronounce that. Gyeongbokgung Palace. It's a, how many acres?
Oh my god, I don't know.
A lot. It's a lot of acres. So one of the things that we read is that, you can spend the whole day here if you wanted to. Or do your points of interest. Oh, it got dark. Points of interest in advance. And so you can just sort of pinpoint. But if you're kind of like us, where we really don't plan when we travel, like we sort of know the points of interest that we want to go to and kind of wake up and feel what we want to do that day. We're just doing a literally walk around and see where this takes us. It's very interesting. We read up on the architecture and when it was first, oh, it got dark again. Architecture and when it was reestablished and it got burned down. But, whether we go to Europe or in Asia, the history is always so fascinating. And it's really, I think, important for everybody to understand when you go visit their country, what their history is. So, yeah, we're just sort of walking. Like I said earlier, it is not cold. It is like 75, but 75 Los Angeles breeze. It's not 75 Manila where you're sticky and sweaty. I think it is tolerable. Ryan made a mistake of wearing black and an undershirt. So he's kind of sweaty.
It's 75 going on about 90.
When you're in the shade, it's beautiful. But when you start walking the sun, it's an open area. We bought a couple bottles of water outside just so that we, sort of hydrate. I am very careful with my water intake because I am afraid of public restrooms. That hasn't changed. And what is this? Oh, it's just dead snake. That hasn't changed, so I'm just very careful with how much liquids I intake. So anyway, where are we off to?
To the right.
To the right. All right, off to the right. All right, go.
All right, so built in 1395.
3095. Okay.
1395, before 1400.
Okay.
This palace is commonly referred to as the Northern Palace because its location is farthest north when compared to the neighboring palaces of the Eastern Palace and the Western Palace.
Okay.
This palace is arguably the most beautiful and remains the largest of all 5 palaces.
Okay.
Okay. It was once destroyed by fire during a war in almost 1600.
Okay.
However, all the palace buildings were later restored under the leadership of this guy, whose name is Sung-dae Wongun,
Okay.
during the reign of King Jojong.
Okay.
That was 1920.
Okay.
So it's 1920 is
From the
relatively-
13th to the 19th century.
Well, all these buildings were restored between 1852 and 1919.
I don't know what I am. Zodiacs apparently. So we are here now. We exited the palace and we are heading to the Folk Museum, which is just from that to here. And it couldn't come any sooner because we're both sweating from the heat. So looks like this is going to be an indoor thing. Fantastic.
Okay, cool. So this is, no, it says it right there, Korean traditional daily life.
Okay.
That's what their life would be like.
Before or after?
Visitors, wide range of daily life, what the Korean people ate and wore, and where they lived, and how through various occupations.
Cool.
Okay, 17th to 20th century.
17th, so that's the 1600s.
To the 1900s.
Nice. Chrysanthemum. Oh, this fucking food's making me hungry. I need the translate thing.
We did. I didn't do a lot of full-blown recording kasi hindi naman ako tourist guide. And I really believe that each of us have sort of a different style pag bumabiyahe, right?